Hey guys, real quick before the video starts today, I've got a quick disclaimer about the pricings for every deck in the series from number 1 to number 100. Every deck you'll see in this 10-part series, 10 decks per video, under or around $100. All of the prices that you will see for every deck were collected on March 25th, 2022 using Card Kingdom prices before I switched over to TCG Player. Obviously, TCG Player, you can get them a whole lot cheaper, especially with the amounts of commons and uncommons. You can save 20 cents roughly per common, and with lots of them in every deck, you're bound to save some dollars at least. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Piloted by Ishai and Reihan, deck number 1 is a 4-color build focused on using +1/+1 counters and creatures like Herald of Secret Streams and Abzan Battle Priest to take advantage of them while putting them on Simic Ascendancy. Early game, look for cards like Arcus Acolyte, Master Biomancer, and Corpse Check Menace to get the most out of your counters. Mid-game, use Armorcraft Judge, Inspiring Call, and similar effects to keep your hand full, helping to stay in the game. Late game, get ready for your big drops. Ivory Tusk Fortress serves as a Seedborn Muse effect for your +1/+1 creatures, letting us have blockers after combat, and Sage of Hours gives us that extra edge with extra turns. Winning can be done through combat with large creatures, or through Simic Ascendancy once you put 20 counters on it. Piloted by Ikoshidiki, the Usurper, and Kraum, Ludovic's Opus, deck number 2 is also a 4-color build, this one looking to use card draw synergy and cheap counter magic to slow our opponents and eventually reach a combo finish. Early game, look for cards like Faithless Looting and Read the Bones, while using easy ramp spells such as Cultivate and Rampant Growth to fix colors and accelerate the game plan. Mid-game, use Peer into the Abyss, Ad Nauseam, and Treasure Cruise to dig through the deck to find your combo. Be sure to hold up mana for your interaction, using Dress Down to stop combos and find cards like Miscast and Languish to control the board. Late game, aim to combo off using Niv Mizzet Perun and enchant him with Curiosity. Draw cards in any way, and he'll start pinging opponents for 1, while drawing you more cards and forming the loop to burn out the table. If damage does not suffice, you can fall back on Laboratory Maniac and an additional card draw effect to win instead of lose with your empty library. Led by Yisan, the Wanderer Bard, deck number 3 is a mono-green deck focused on using early game creatures to ramp quickly and use Yisan's ability to pull giant threats out of the deck and win with an army of huge creatures. Early game, look for cards like Destiny Spinner, Elvish Mystic, and Beast Whisperer. Protection, early ramp, and card draw are vital to this strategy taking off. Mid-game, use Manglehorn and Ground Seal to punish your opponents, while starting to show your true power. Use Yisan's ability, finding bigger creatures, Fierce Empath, Karametra's Acolyte, and the like. Late game, aim for your biggest targets. Regal Force, Bellowing Tangleworm, and Soul of the Harvest are the top of the list here. Winning is done through traditional combat, using our army to crash through and smash our opponents in the face. Crowned by Brago King Eternal, deck number 4 is a blue-white deck designed without a win condition. It might sound unorthodox, but a win-con-less stacks deck, they do exist. This deck looks to take advantage of many enter the battlefield effects, and be able to repeat them throughout the game. Early game, look for cards like Flicker Wisp and Soul Herder that provide creature enter the battlefield triggers for a card like Daxos Blessed by the Sun, while landing effective stacks pieces like Aven Mind Sensor and Aura of Silence to slow down your opponents. Mid-game, try to get out Venser for the -1 unblockable ability, alongside creatures like Archaeomancer to form a soft block with Silence, and Peregrine Drake for extra mana. Late game, just aim for using cards like Azor the Lawbringer and Sunblast Angel to control the board and hit for sizable damage to wrap things up. Deck number 5 is the first, but it won't be the last, time we see Zombie Tribal on this list. This white-blue-black tribal deck, led by Varina Lich Queen, looks to take advantage of synergy and eventually win through combat using Hordes of the Undead. Early game, look for cards like Violent Tumor to fetch Wonder into the graveyard, and Tomebound Lich to start drawing cards and putting zombies onto the field. Mid-game, first find Crippling Fear and Time Wipe to control the board, and then use One with Nothing and Shadow of the Grave to gain some value, and potentially using a well-timed Living Death with something like Kaya's Wrath can swing the game in your favor. Late game, look for your finishers, Empty the Pits, Rooftop Storm, Necromancer's Covenant. These cards have huge potential to create massive board states and let you swing out to win the game. Deck number 6 is led by Rienne, Angel of Rebirth. It's a red-green-white deck focused on multicolored cards and using the synergy between them to create a huge board and hit face. Early game, make sure to fix your colors with Accessible Ramp, Kodama's Reach, Cultivate, Explosive Vegetation, and look for the discount cards like Urza's Filter and Goblin Anarchomancer. Mid-game, try to find your groove. Samut, Voice of Dissent, Maze Behemoth, and General Ferris Rakirik will help establish a board and the strategy overall. Late game, look for your finishers. Nova Blast Worm, Gisela Blade of Gold Knight, and Titanic Ultimatum will help you finish off whatever's left of your opponents. Deck number 7 is a mono-white build based around using Creature ETB to gain lots of life with Daxos Blessed by the Sun, and eventually using Aetherflux Reservoir to laser down our opponents. Early game, look for cards like Impassioned Orator and Anointer Priest to help with the life gain right from the start. Mid-game, try to get out your payoffs, Crested Sunmare, Boon Reflection, Griffinary to name a few. Late game, look to use Aetherflux Reservoir and laser down at least one opponent. If all else fails, use cards like Elish Norn Grand Cenobite, Heliod, God of the Sun, and a card like Stormherd, or use Approach of the Second Sun as a backup win condition. Deck number 8 is all about legendary creatures. Arvad may not be the greatest for legendary tribal. Hi, Sisay. Yes, both of you. But on a budget, he'll hold his own. Early game, look to get out your Lockets and Cluestones, because the legends in this deck get rather expensive to cast. Mid-game, look for your utility pieces, Mengar of Gorondor, Gonti Lord of Luxury, even Ob Nixilis Reignited. Late game, hit with the finishers, Shieldred Whispering One, Elish Norn Grand Cenobite, and Akroma Angel of Wrath, to hit opponents for tons of damage. As a tip, use Primeval's Glorious Rebirth to create a board if you get wiped too many times, and Door of Destinies will make your board even stronger than it already is. Deck number 9 is one to be wary of, if you aren't a fan of spiders. Thantis the Warweaver isn't a great pilot for the tribal synergy here, but this green-red-black deck gives us enough versatility that we can make it work for the most part. Early game, look for your ramp, your Signets, Rampant Growth, Farseek, all help to fix colors on a budget. Mid-game, find your lane and stick to it. Dragonlair Spider and Arasta of the Endless Web can help you hold a board down against your opponents. Late game, look for your threats. Dread, Vigor, even Beastmaster Ascension will help you close out through combat. Deck number 10 is yet another black-red-green deck, this one focused on using reanimation to bring back our most important threats and win in combat as well. I felt that Gyrus, Waker of Corpses, was underrated in the reanimation theme as a pilot, so I wanted to take the challenge and see what I could do with it, especially on a budget. Early game, look for cards like Glowspore Shaman, Nyx Weaver, and Shambling Shell to keep putting cards into the graveyard. Aim to put those in that want to be there, like Anger and Brawn. Mid-game, use Gyrus to pull out bigger threats like Inferno Titan and Underrealm Lich to help us stay on track into the later parts of the game. In the later parts of the game, aim for the biggest targets. Broodmate Dragon, Izoni Thousand-Eyed, and Noxus Gearhulk are sizable threats with pretty good enter the battlefield triggers when they come out to play. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of 100 Under 100. I hope you sincerely enjoyed the first episode of this 10-part series that's taken me nearly a year to finish up. All the deck lists, primers, and scripts for all the episodes. In terms of deck visibility, all 10 decks released per video will become visible when that video is released. All linked down in the description below on my MOXFIELD page. Feel free to follow over there if you want to see what other weird, random decks I come up with in my free time. Also, I have a Twitter for this channel, in case you didn't know. You can find it twitter.com/mtg_homebrew. On there, I interact with various Magic personalities and people, and just put channel updates and whatever else I might be up to. It's all over there. So feel free to give it a follow. Also, consider subscribing if you enjoy content like this. That way you don't miss any future episodes of this series or anything else I might post. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.